Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Paramahamsa Parivajagacharya HG Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivajagacharya Ashtottara Shatashi Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavarinda ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai Prem Sikho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki Jai Vrindavan Dham ki Jai Navadvip Dham ki Jai Ganga Yamunamai ki Jai Tulsi Maharani ki Jai Bhakti Devi ki Jai Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Eighth Canto, Withdrawal of the Cosmic Creations. Chapter 5, The Demigod's Appeal to the Lord. Text 49. 8.5.49. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, so please repeat after me. Yata hi skanda shakanam turur mulava sachanam evam Aradhanam Viṣṇu Sarvesham Atmanash Cha Hi Yata hi skanda shakanam Toror mulava sechanam Evam aradanam Viṣṇu Sarvesham atmanashchati Yata hi skanda shakanam Toror mulava sechanam Evam aradanam Viṣṇu Sarvesham atmanaschahi Yata hi skanda shakanam Toror mulava sechanam Evam aradanam Viṣṇu Sarvesham atmanaschahi Okay. Please repeat after me. Yata, as he, indeed, skanda of the trunk, shakanam, and of the branches, turo, of a tree, mula, the root, avasechanam, watering, evam, in this way, aradhanam, worship, Viṣṇu, of Lord Viṣṇu, sarvesham, of everyone, atmanaha, of the Supersoul, cha, also, he, indeed. Translation: when one pours water on the root of a tree, the trunk and the branches of the tree are automatically pleased. Similarly, when one becomes a devotee of Lord Viṣṇu, everyone is served, for the Lord is the Supersoul of everyone. Purport: as stated in the Padma Purana, Aradhananam sarvesham Viṣṇur aradhanam param tasmat parataram devi tadiyanam samarchanam. Of all types of worship, worship of the Lord is best. And better than the worship of Lord Viṣṇu is the worship of his devotee, the Vaishnav. There are many demigods worshipped by people who are attached to material desires. Kamais tarhita prapadyante nadevataha. Because people are embarrassed by so many material desires, they worship Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, the goddess Kali, Durga, Ganesh, and Surya to achieve different results. However, one can achieve all these results simultaneously just by worshipping Lord Viṣṇu. As stated elsewhere in the Bhagavatam 4:31-14, Yata toro mula nishchanena tripyanti tat skanda bujo bhashakaha prano parachcha yatadindyanam tataiva sarvahanam achuteja. Just by pouring water on the root of a tree, one nourishes its trunk and all of its branches, fruits, and flowers. And just by supplying food to the stomach, one satisfies all the limbs of the body. Similarly, by worshipping Lord Viṣṇu, one can satisfy everyone. Krishna consciousness is not a sectarian religious movement. Rather, it is meant for all embracing welfare activities for the world. One can enter this movement without discrimination in terms of caste, creed, religion, or nationality. If one is trained to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who is the origin of Viṣṇu Tattva, one can become fully satisfied and perfect in all respects. Om Gyanativedandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshulanmaditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Makam Kridavachalam Pangam Langategirim Yat Kripadamaham Vande Shri Gurundini Tarinam Vacha Kabduribhishcha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, translation again. When one pours water on the root of a tree, the trunk and the branches of the tree are automatically pleased. Similarly, when one becomes a devotee of Lord Viṣṇu, everyone is served, for the Lord is the Supersoul of everyone. One devotee, temple president of Salem, South India. There's a Salem organ. And there's also a Madras organ. You know that? Yeah, it's very interesting. I didn't. So, the Madras organ and Salem, Oregon, but because you got Madras and Salem in South India. But the temple president of Salem, South India, he wrote a book, and the book, the title of that book is "Who is Supreme?" And on the front of the book, there's Viṣṇu riding on Garuda. There's Lord Brahma on his swan. Who does Shiva? Who's his chariot? Does anyone remember? Nandi. Okay. And like that, the cover was full of different personalities. So who is supreme? So he goes through the book. He makes points throughout the book, of course, pointing to Krishna being the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But there is some confusion amongst people in the world who is supreme. There's a lot of confusion, actually. When one of Srila Prabhupada's European, he became one of Srila Prabhupada's godbrothers. He first visited India. He was visiting the different temples, and he was seeing how this deity, how a particular deity was having certain weapons. So he was going to the different temples and seeing how all of these deities have different weapons. And then when he came to Krishna, he said, oh, Krishna is just simply enjoying. He's playing his flute. He's there with Srimati Radharani. So his conclusion was that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, of course, for some it's not so easy. They don't come to the conclusion that easily. Actually, it may take many births, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. Who remembers that one? Yes, Javeda Prabhu.
Unam janmanamante jnanavan papadite vasudevak sarvabhiti samahatma sudurlabha.
Yeah, can you give the, please?
After many, many births, one who is intelligent surrenders unto me, understanding that Vasudeva is everything.
Yeah. So it may take many births for someone to realize Krishna's supremacy, or Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One life, they might be thinking, what's her name? Radha Ma or something like that. She's a new god in India. They may be thinking she's supreme. She has a number of followers, both uneducated and educated in India, and people are worshiping her as supreme right now as we speak. She's getting a good salary from that, apparently. So they may, in this life, think she's supreme, or so many other different personalities coming saying they're God. Usually it tends to be men, but sometimes women. Or they may, in one particular birth, think Surya supreme or Shiva supreme, and so on. So if we could come to the conclusion that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is our great fortune. If we can accept that we're not the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or that any other ordinary man or woman is not the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and if we can somehow also understand that the different demigods are not supreme, then that is our good fortune. But yeah, it's a long-term, long-standing argument, long-standing battle, actually. For example, some people think Shiva is supreme in India, quite a few, and quite a few think Krishna is supreme. So there's kind of a long-term battle in that way. They're arguing. Of course, some people think this is completely silly. They think, why is this silly? Just like there was one fellow, Khushwant Singh, I don't know if he's still around, but he might be. He was a reporter for India, what is that called? Illustrated India or some news, I'm forgetting. Newspaper in India. So he wrote an article, and it was titled Hare Krishna versus Shiva Shiva. And what he was doing is he was making fun. This is just, they have nothing better to do with their lives but to sit around and talk about whether this mythical character is the supreme or that mythical character is the supreme. They have nothing better to do with their lives. So, Hridayananda Das Goswami, and this is in the 70s, Hridayananda Das Goswami and one Austrian sannyasi, Agananda Bharati, he was in the Shankara line. So they were having this argument. They're going back and forth. Who's supreme, Shiva or Krishna? And they presented all their arguments. And so Srila Prabhupada was informed about this. And the devotees thought it was, quite offensive that this person wrote this article and is making fun of devotees, making fun of anyone who in his mind would waste their time talking about these things. So Srila Prabhupada, he commented on Khushwant Singh and also on this Bharati, and he said, yes, he said, he said, Khushwant Singh, yes, he's a demon. And Bharati, he's a fool. That was Prabhupada's conclusion. So, why was he saying he was a demon? Demon means against the supremacy of God. Doesn't mean someone with two horns or something like that. It means atheistic, hedonistic, against the supremacy of God, and so on. So Srila Prabhupada said he was in that category. And that this Bharati was foolish in the sense that he didn't fully understand the purport of Vedic literature, Krishna's supremacy. That's the idea. So we should take it, the Padma Purana and so many other statements here, we should take them seriously in that this is what we accept as truth. That, for example, it says here that out of all types of worship, the worship of Viṣṇu is the best. And better than the worship of Viṣṇu is the worship of his devotee, the Vaishnava. Who says that? Yeah, that's a very good point. Who does say that? Anyone remember? Yes.
Shiva.
Yeah, that's true. Lord Shiva, he says this. So it's interesting. Guess it adds up. It does add up. So worship of Viṣṇu is the highest, and better than that worship is worship of his devotee. Now, many people, they may come to the conclusion that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's many pious people out there who do come to that conclusion. They worship Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But sometimes that realization that the worship of a Vaishnav is higher is lacking. And that is called a neophyte. That is called a beginner. That is called a Kanishta Adhikari, a materialistic devotee. It means that they see Krishna, but they don't see the Vaishnavas in the proper light. They see them wrongly. They see them as personalities who are not worshipable. They see them as they don't see them connected to Krishna. And just as it was mentioned the other day, that if you love, if you have a friend and you're very cruel to their children, or to their pets, for example, dog or whatever, then they're going to be really upset with you. They're not going to really favor you at all, actually. So similarly, Krishna, he is very favorably inclined towards his devotees, benevolently inclined towards his devotees. In other words, he has great love and affection for his devotees. So if someone doesn't worship them or offer them proper respect, which they deserve, then Krishna, that offends Krishna. Of course, we shouldn't see this in relation to, like, kind of use this in relation to ourselves. Like, so I'm a very great devotee, so everybody should, properly worship me or give me respect. We shouldn't see it like that, but we should see it in relation to others. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Trinadapi sanichenas torore pisuhishnana amanina manidena kirtaniya sadahari, that one should be, is it more humble than a blade of grass? Yep. Wow. More humble than a blade of grass. More tolerant than a tree? Tolerant? Wow, okay. More tolerant than a tree. They should offer all respects to others and expect no respect in return. In such a state, they could chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. So, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says we should wear that around our, like a garland. In other words, we should always remember that. So, if we have realized that we are not supreme and this ordinary person, that ordinary person is not supreme, and we have realized certain devas or personalities are not supreme, and we realize Krishna is supreme to whatever degree, still we need to go further in that we need to realize that the devotees are worshipable. And that will be the real, that will allow us to actually attain the goal of Krishna consciousness, if we're able to see the devotees in the right light, serve them, associate with them, and advance in this way. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that even in the stage of perfection, the association of the devotees is essential. So it's not that we just associate with them, to help us out, get closer to the goal, and then when we attain the goal, all right, great, I don't have to associate with them anymore. But it's essential even in perfection. So, and Krishna is said to be, like in this example, like the root of a tree. So if we, in the demigods and other living entities, in this example, are said to, or compared to be branches, fruits, flowers. So if we try to satisfy everyone independently, we try to water the leaves and the branches and fruits, then that doesn't really work. And if we try to become satisfied by just forgetting Krishna, forgetting the root, that also doesn't work, because we're neglecting a very important part of the equation, the root of the tree, Krishna. And how are we expected to be healthy and flourishing if we're neglecting the root? So the idea is that if we serve Krishna, we will be satisfied. We will be happy. Like Srila Prabhupada gives the example, okay, if you try to, we're going to have breakfast this morning. Kanai's been making the same breakfast for the last 20 years or so, maybe longer. We should ask him. I don't know, maybe some 25 years. I'm not sure. It's been a while. Devotees like his breakfast. So, but if we go out to the breakfast table, and we have his, if you take the breakfast, you take the certain different items, and you just grab the item and go like this, to your eye or something, and you try to, or if you grab the item and you go like this, in your ear, and it's not going to work. So practically, that is what people are doing in the world. You can imagine everyone just running around gratifying their senses, or if we ever fall into that illusion of trying to be happy in the world separately from Krishna, we should just think of the example of taking your breakfast and just going like this, in your eye or in your ear. It just doesn't work. It's not logical. It doesn't work. So we have to satisfy Krishna. We're intimately connected to Krishna, and we have to satisfy him, and we'll be naturally satisfied. And as Srila Prabhupada makes the point at the end of the purport, that Krishna consciousness is not a sectarian religious movement. It's not meant just for a particular class of people. It's not a movement of men, or a movement of women, or a movement of... It's not a movement of of a particular ethnic group, nationality, and so on. It is a movement meant for everyone. And it is interesting that looking out in the world, we see that devotees from all over the world, they're able to chant Hare Krishna, they're able to take prasadam, they're able to study and learn the philosophy, and they're quite happy, they're quite satisfied all over the world. So we could see its universal application. You go to China, you go to Africa, you go to Europe, you go to India, you go all over the world. There's people are happily engaged in Krishna service. So it works all over the world. And then Srila Prabhupada says, if one is trained to worship Krishna, who's the origin of Vishnu Tattva, one can become fully satisfied and perfect in all respects. So sometimes people hear that and they're like, oh, really? Like, can I really become fully satisfied? Or can I become perfect in all respects? That's called lacking faith. A lack of faith. If someone doesn't have faith in this, that they could become fully satisfied and perfect in all respects, then their faith needs to be strengthened. Because one who has real faith or strong faith, fixed faith, then they have faith in this statement that I do not have to do anything else for my happiness, for my satisfaction, to become perfect. All I have to do is worship Krishna. It's not that I have to add some jnana, those familiar with the term, or karma to my activities, or anything else. I don't have to add anything else. All I have to do is serve Krishna, and that is a definition given in the Chaitanya Charitamrita of firm faith, real faith. So we want to move towards that. If we haven't developed that, we want to move towards that, and we're able to do that by associating with persons who have more faith in us, and by practicing, we naturally develop more faith. All right. So, anybody have any? Yes, Govardhan Das.
Thank you, Balaram Prabhu. you mentioned how, sometimes people worship different personalities. And it's funny because sometimes people worship themselves as God. I met some person yesterday at the park, and you can tell he was struggling. He didn't have shelter. He wasn't properly dressed, proper hygiene. So he told me, I'm better than God.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then he said, I would have created a better world than, what we see now, like that. And I was trying to talk to him. He said, no, And then he walked away.
Yeah, you could see the state of madness, right? Very unfortunate. I mean, some people say that, well, I mean, if I was God, I would have done a better job. This world seems very imperfect. How could a perfect person create this place? But there is a perfect place. It's called the spiritual world. And for those who reawaken Krishna consciousness and say develop their adhikar or their qualification, they could enter that place. So to say he's God, yeah. I mean, we had one person tell us recently that he was Hanuman. That was his, yeah. It was a Friday night lounge, yes. Hanuman. He said his name was Hanuman. I mean, he said he identified as Hanuman. So I was joking one time because I asked him what he did for work, and he said he sells. What does he sell? What was he selling? He was selling. It was like crystals and things like that. At swap meet, that was how he was making his money and paying his rent and everything. So I was just kind of joking, and I was saying, "Oh, Hanuman's out at the swap meet selling crystals." I mean, Hanuman could lift a whole mountain. What does he have to do? Selling crystals. Could get any crystals he wants. So, just some misconceptions. But he's a nice. I mean, in one sense, very nice person. He bought a Bhagavatam set. He bought a whole Bhagavatam set, and then he said he was reading it. So, I mean, there's just some kind of misconceptions. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Just kind of a mini realization. You were talking about in India, there's all the people who claim to be God, and they get followers and everything. It reminded me of a very popular woman named Amma, who's the hugging saint. And people...
Yeah, she's still around.
She's still around, yeah. The people wait 6 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours to get a hug from her. And I realized, wow, is anyone giving her anything or offering her anything? She's their guru, but people are waiting to take from her. So it's just interesting, kind of a reversal of, the style of worship.
Yeah. Yeah, you could see how much people are suffering by this, that they're waiting so long for this person to hug them. You can see how much they need some affection. They're really suffering in that way, and they're thinking they're let's say that this person has some special power, some special qualification. Naive or innocent in a sense, people, or ignorant. This person has some special power or something. If I hug them, then better my life. And apparently, they made some. I don't know. Maybe some of you heard about this, but it's like some type of couch or something, and the couch, it's made in such a way as it feels like it's hugging you. So. Well, it's related just to people's, it's just, just related to people's kind of loneliness and just kind of not feeling any meaning. Just like you need to buy a couch that like embraces you, feel like it. So, yes. Okay, we have Yamuna, right? Visiting.
Yes.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Hare Krishna. So, Thank you for the wonderful class. And, you know, this concept of when we're watering the leaves and of the tree, it seems really obvious when you're new to Krishna consciousness, your material desires that you're watering, right? Like, they're very big and gross, and you're just like, and this is where the four regulative principles of freedom come in. But then as you are practicing longer and longer, I feel like we're still watering the leaves. Even if we're serving Krishna, we still have subtle material desires. And do you have recommendations for putting a spotlight on, you know, because subtle, you want to get rid of all of these times we're going out and watering the leaves of the tree. So any recommendations for, as it gets more subtle, these material desires that we have and how to root them out, you know?
Yeah. Well, as one pastor said, the devil's really tricky. I don't know. I'm just making that up. I'm sure many of them said that. But there's that book by C.S. Lewis, interesting book. It's Screw Tape Letters. That's what it's called, right? Maybe somebody familiar with that. Screw Tape Letters. So it's very interesting. He is taking the role of a senior, devil, right? And he's writing to a junior devil. And he's advising him how to bewilder a soul, and how to trick a soul. So within that book, there's many letters to this junior devil, and I mean, we won't go through the whole thing, it's quite complex, but one of the things that is brought up in that book is that the Maya, and in our case, you could say Maya, may try to bewilder us in gross attempts, like you said. Someone's coming to the temple, and they're like, and then there's some kind of inner voice, why go to the temple? It's like, come on, just like waste, like go do something else, or like, why follow these principles? Just like, you know, just go to the bar, man. So people fall for those gross things. So he explains it in the book. But this particular soul that they were trying to capture wasn't falling for that. He was going to church. And that's where the subtle things start coming in, where this inner voice is saying, encourage him to find faults with people in the church, you know, just to criticize this person. That's like an inner thing. Or his attachment to a particular woman, to be his wife. Of course, I mean, we know that for devotees to be in a couple, it doesn't necessarily mean they have to fall into illusion. But in this book, he's explaining how you can entice this soul to fall into illusion. You know, the very basic thing, I and mine. You know, I am this body, and everything in relation to this body is mine, and so on. So in this way, although he's going to the church, this senior devil's explaining to the junior devil how to bewilder him, how to keep his mind far away from God, even though he's in the church. So this subtle thing going on. So okay, we all may have experience with that. So how to get free from that? One thing is that we have to be very introspective. We have to be very honest with ourselves. They're just like throughout in a year's time, there's special times of the year, like Kartik, for example. Kartik is a very special time in which we try to increase our devotional efforts, because we're trying to get Krishna's mercy. And why is that a special time? Because at this particular time, we could say that Krishna's mercy is on sale, in a sense. Just like, for example, if everybody knows Nordstrom's, right? They have some good things there. You know, they get some good clothes, good jewelry. And there's some. I mean, it's a lot better than Walmart, right? I think more expensive. So if at Nordstrom's there was a 85% sale going on, you'd have a big line. You know, people would be lining up. Even now, with the advent of internet and Amazon and everything, still people are lining up on Black Friday outside of these stores trying to get a good price on TV or whatever it is. Laptop. So Kartik is a time in which that mercy is more readily available. But there's other days, not just Kartik. There's what about Ramchandra? What about Ram Navami tomorrow? What about Ekadashis? Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he said Ekadashi is the mother of devotion. So what about Ekadashi? It's a special day to try to increase our devotional efforts and get special mercy. So on those days, we can increase our devotional efforts, chant more in kirtan and japa and read more, and that will boost our devotional life and purify our hearts more. And we could use those times also as a time for reflection, to look inside. What do I need to work on? So I have to be very honest. That's also the guru principle, that we have our persons around us who act as our gurus, and we could ask them, how do I advance? What should I do? But even though, so by looking within ourselves, by talking with advanced devotees, we should get an idea what those are. And then by taking advantage of these holy days, this will help us get rid of these impurities. So that's something. I don't think anyone ever said it was going to be easy, because sometimes we may wonder, okay, I know what they are, okay, I'm trying to get rid of them, I'm trying to remove these subtle contamination from my heart, I'm taking advantage of holy days, but still, it's, you know, why is it taking so long? But no one said it was going to be easy, but if it seems difficult, we have to do something more radical. We have to increase our efforts. Like Jesus Christ said, he said, if your eye's giving you a hard time, he said, pluck them out. That doesn't necessarily, I don't recommend that, like Bill Mangala Thakur or something, but it means do something radical. It means increase one's endeavor. And now, in this particular time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda are here. This is their movement. This is the Sankirtan movement. They're avatars for this age, most merciful. And they are ready to give us mercy. That's what they came for. That's what they're here for. They're here to give us mercy. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that if we remember Lord Chaitanya, very difficult things become easy. But if we don't remember Lord Chaitanya, very easy things become difficult. So we should always remember Lord Chaitanya. So it might seem very difficult to control our senses. It might seem very difficult to get rid of these subtle contaminations. It might be very difficult to whatever. There's a long list. This might be difficult, obstacles. But if we remember Lord Chaitanya, then it becomes very easy. So we could also increase our meditation on Lord Chaitanya, his pastimes, his teachings. There's a nice recording of Damodar. He does Chaitanya Bhagavat. Very nice recording. You could listen to those and then remember Lord Chaitanya, things become easier. So there's some things. All right. Yes. Prabhu. It's right there.
I remember when I was working on the Bhagavatam in the marathon of 75. And part of that marathon, devotees don't often notice, is the fifth canto. That was part of the marathon. And there's a chapter 18 in that fifth canto, which is the prayer, the residents of Jambudvipa offer prayers. And one of those residents is Prahlad Maharaj. And near the I don't know if this is his first prayer, but fifth canto, chapter 18, text 8. It's a prose passage. In the fifth canto, you find a lot of prose, you know, but it's got a beat to it, even though it's prose. And at the end of this purport, Prabhupada says, any devotee aspiring to be free of material desires should offer his respectful prayers to Nrsingadev as Prahlad Maharaj did in this verse. And as soon as I read that, I said, I'm going to memorize this. This is a manuscript. This book isn't even printed. So I'm not going to read you the whole thing, but my point is that there's so many prayers, and even the Hare Krishna mantra is meant to be chanted prayerfully. When Prabhupada said, well, what does it mean? He said, oh, this is a call to Krishna and Radha. Please engage me in your service. So if we're chanting prayerfully in that way, then with great attention and avoiding offenses, then that's obviously one of the effects of the Hare Krishna mantra, that you get attracted to Krishna and you lose your taste, vairagya, for the things that are causing you so much trouble. So check out this verse and purport, and there's so many others. If you in the Bhagavatam, it's full of prayers like this. That because this is the mountain we have to cross, all of those conditioning and desires and diversions of our attention. But if we really want it, and we pray to Krishna for that, then he'll help us. That's one of one of the
thank
things.
you, thank you. So yeah, it's a. Of course.
Like in the Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada said many times that lust is the greatest obstacle to surrendering to Krishna. So these subtle forms of lust, is it just any time that you want to enjoy separate from Krishna? Is that what it is? Because of course there's very, big, obvious forms, but like as it gets more subtle, like as the tissues get finer, what does this lust look like? Just enjoying separate from Krishna.
The idea is that if we're able to become attracted enough to Krishna, of glorifying him, serving him, then those desires will diminish and diminish, and eventually we'll get to the point where, God, how did I ever was attracted to that? Just like, most devotees after some time, not too much time, they think, meat eating? Are you kidding? Yeah, I used to meat. I was like, you can't even think about it. Just like Yamunacharya, you didn't want to think about it. So that's what the whole thing is, a positive. Don't worry about it. Just join the kirtan. You chant for 4 hours in the kirtan, your lust is gone. Your needs are still working. But the point is that the positive is what is stressed. And all of these wonderful passages and prayers in the Bhagavatam, Kunti's prayers. I put one into English, if you'll allow me. O Madhu's Lord, please ever fill my mind with thoughts of thee, not any other kind. As Ganges torrent flows into the sea, let all my love flow constantly to thee. That's near the end of her prayers. Tvayame and Nivishya. And Prabhupada, in the teachings of Queen Kunti, we have that prayer is there. So that prayer is a very important thing. Prayerfulness also.
All right, Jai. Granted, Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai.